Hi, I'm CBS 17 Storm Team meteorologist Bill Ray. We're tracking Dorian. We're checking out Dorian at the 5 o'clock observation. This is a Category 5 storm. It grew to that today. Winds are still at 185 miles per hour, gusting to over 200. The barometer is down to 910. Just 2 days ago, it was like 960. So that's the dropping barometer always raises the winds. It's moving west at 5, so a little slower. And you can see the eye of the storm is over the Abaco Islands of the Bahamas and setting its sight on for Grand Bahama Island, where there's the big town of Freeport. So devastation probably occurring right now in the Bahamas as this storm continues to move toward the west. So you can see just the concentric circle, all the convection around it. I mean, this is a pretty powerful, very powerful storm, and a dangerous one at that. All right, you can still see the coast of Florida looking fine with partly cloudy skies, but let's show you the track here. Is it's going to be tomorrow afternoon on Labor Day over the Grand Bahama Island, or just skirting it and starting to turn. Still is a Category 5 storm, even though it's been over these land islands. A lot of times storms weaken, but these islands not doing much of that. And then it's going to start to go to the north, and it will weaken a little bit. It's going to run into some wind shear, 120 mile per hour. That's equivalent of Fran back in '96, as it stays east of Jacksonville. Now you still see that there's the opportunity that could come across the coast of Florida, but this path has been pretty consistent now for the last 24 to 36 hours. Very close to the South Carolina coast, very close to Bald Head Island, and maybe even going over our Outer Banks on Thursday. So for North Carolina, it looks like Thursday afternoon and Thursday night will be the time to watch the storm pass by. Notice the spread between the 24-hour time periods. The storm is going to pick up speed, and it's going to not be a slow mover, which is about the only saving grace. 90-mile-per-hour winds away from us Friday at 2 o'clock. You still see the cone has the possibility that this storm might not curve and could come inland, which would give us a lot more rain, but there is still the possibility that it could curve even more and stay well out to sea, which is what we're all pulling for here. Here's the satellite picture. You can just see it smothering the islands of the northern Bahamas. And what we've got for you, hurricane warnings now have been issued for parts of the coast of Florida. Vero Beach under that hurricane warning. There's orange right here. That's Palm Beach, West Palm Beach. That's under a tropical storm warning, and so are the offshore waters. And then you can see the islands of the Bahamas all under hurricane warnings too. The yellow, by the way, tropical storm watch for parts of Florida, and the purple right along the coast in Cape Canaveral, that's a hurricane watch too, because the storm is going to be slowly moving toward the west and then northwest. Water temperatures just very, very warm here, 86, 87 degrees. When it gets up to North Carolina, it'll be down in the low 80s. And the wind shear, there's not much where it is now. That's why it's so strong. But this is trying to show some wind shear in the green areas and such when it starts to move toward the northeast. That's one reason it might weaken, even though the waters are still going to stay warm. And we're still watching the high that originally was over Bermuda continue to float away, which is going to allow the storm to eventually turn to the northwest and then north, and then hopefully quickly to the northeast. So we look at the two models here. The European model a little slower today than the American model, and you can see this is Thursday at midnight. No real impacts yet, and so this is a Thursday storm where it has it south of, let's say, Sunset Beach and Ocean Island at 5 o'clock on Thursday, and then practically over the Outer Banks at 8 a.m. on Friday, quickly clearing out. Compare that to the American model, which on Thursday around midnight has a little closer to the Carolinas with more influence on the weather, but it's during the day on Thursday, and by Thursday late in the afternoon it has it over the Outer Banks. Remember, the European had it Friday morning at 8 a.m. in this position, so this is quicker model, and it's got it well gone on the day on Friday, as you see there. So the computer models still pretty all consistent. There's still a couple trying to bring it on shore into Florida, even those ones that do have it curving even more sharply out to the east, but the majority, the bulk, and the big yellow line is the hurricane center forecast, and that would have it just nipping the Outer Banks and Morehead City, staying south of Wilmington, and all these computer models clustered tightly around that area. I would like to see them shift a little further to the east, but based on that, we could see tropical storm force winds starting as early, well, as Wednesday night. So Wednesday should be fine, but Wednesday night, and they'll overspread the area on Thursday, at least the chance of them, and by Thursday night, the whole state will have at least a chance of tropical storm force winds, and then those will move on. This is the first arrival. It doesn't mean when they're going to end. It just means when they first get here. And then as we look at the rainfall, you see it all over Florida, right along the coast. And this isn't as bad as it was yesterday in terms of rain along the beaches. But still, when you see that red down there, and even the deep red, we're talking 6 to 8 inches of rain. By the way, you kind of see how this is going to be a close call, because if that storm comes inland, we get all the heavy rain here, and if it goes further out, some of this lighter rain comes out. But as it stands right now in the triangle, that's less than an inch of rain. In Fayetteville, about an inch of rain, 2 inches of rain maybe in Goldsboro. So that would spare the central North Carolina the worst of it if it follows the track, but it'll still be pretty nasty along the coast on Thursday, including Morehead City, Wrightsville Beach, and definitely along the Outer Banks in Cape Hatteras. Here are very vulnerable to that storm. At least it's going to move quick. Well, that's the way it looks right now. At 5 o'clock, we'll have a digital show tonight at 8 and do this all over again. And we'll talk to another meteorologist in Augusta, Georgia, George Myers, to give his perspective a little further south. So we'll see you then. Thanks for watching online, and have yourself a great Labor Day.